Fallout, an iconic franchise that has some of the most unique theories, stories, lore, and gameplay. So today we're taking a look at a brand new Fallout Iceberg made by yours truly. As we descend deeper, the more disturbing and terrifying things are gonna get. There's gonna be 5 tiers of this iceberg, which each tier becoming more horrific. I truly think you should stick around until the end because we really dug deep into this Fallout universe and I found some pretty disturbing things, both in game and in real life. Just be warned, by the end of this, you might just pee your pants. So, without further ado, let's go. We're here in tier 1, which is surface level stuff, but still very interesting and things that you probably didn't know. Becoming a porn star. In Fallout 2, you can actually become a porn star by completing the quest, Become a Porn Star. You do this by approaching the Golden Glove Studios, and if you have enough charisma, endurance, and agility, you will get the job and achieve your dreams. Vault Experiments. A company named Vault Tech decided to create over 100 vaults across the US in order to protect people in case nuclear war broke out. However, these vaults weren't really for protecting people and instead to run some sick and twisted experiments on their human population. Aliens are real. In the Fallout universe, aliens can be seen a multitude of times, including seeing a crashed UFO, finding a group of them in Fallout New Vegas, as well as even being abducted. Fallout 3 also had its very own DLC dedicated to them with Mothership Zeta. FEV virus. The FEV virus stands for Forced Evolutionary Virus, and it was an experiment by Vault Tech that ended up creating super mutants. These same super mutants kidnap humans from the wasteland and bring them back in order to create even more super mutants. Vault Boy. Vault Boy is the face of the Fallout franchise and appears in every game. He's on the perks, special stats, Pip-Boy, he's everywhere you look. Nuka-Cola Origin. Nuka-Cola is one of the most iconic items in Fallout and has been in the game since Fallout 1. However, the creator of Nuka-Cola, John Caleb Bradberton, is actually just a combination of names from the creators of Coca-Cola and Pepsi, being John Stith Pemberton and Caleb Bradberton, making John Caleb Bradberton the oldest character. The oldest character in Fallout history actually comes from the Mothership Zeta DLC, being Toshiro Kago. He's an abducted Japanese samurai from the 1500s, and aliens have kept him in a pod ever since, making him over 700 years old. Prey. In Fallout 4, the most popular location is without a doubt Diamond City, but a place a lot of people miss is the chapel, and you can actually get married and pray here, which will then actually give you an experience boost. We're now moving into tier 2, drifting away from the casual stuff and diving a bit deeper into this ocean. Trogs. Trogs come from the Pit DLC in Fallout 3, which just might be the scariest DLC ever. The air and particles from the pit cause the people living there to mutate and become sick with the disease by the name of TDC, and in the worst cases, they become something called a Trog. Any attempts to try to reconnect with an old family member that has gone Trog is useless, and they are barely even human anymore. Mama Murphy's strength. Mama Murphy is everyone's favorite grandma and has the power to predict the future. But did you know that Mama Murphy is actually the strongest human character in Fallout 4? With a strength rating of over 16, Mama Murphy is in the weight room every single day. Abominations. Abominations are creatures that can be found in Mothership Zeta and just might be the most terrifying in Fallout history. They are actually an experiment from the aliens gone wrong. They combined both human and Zetan DNA in order to create these things, but it's safe to say the human part in them barely shows. Gary. In Vault 108, you can find a bunch of people that look identical, all named Gary, and they are all hostile on sight. You see, what happened here was a cloning experiment by Vault Tech, but eventually these clones became so hostile that a war broke out, and the only people who survived were the Gary clones. Vault Tech phone number. For the release of Fallout 4, you were actually able to call a number that would play a Vault Tech message from the Vault Tech salesman himself.
Thank you for calling Vault Tech, your first choice in post-nuclear survival. We're sorry, but due to unexpectedly high call volume, all representatives are currently busy. Please stay on the line, and someone will be with you as soon as possible.
Salesman lives. Speaking of the Vault Tech salesman, at the start of Fallout 4, we can see that despite working for Vault Tech, he's actually not allowed in the vault. But fortunately, despite the bombs dropping, he's actually still alive and well. We can meet him coming out of a room in the Hotel Rexford in Goodneighbor, and we can even recruit him to come work at one of our settlements. Ghoul Gene. In Fallout, you can meet two types of ghouls. ones that try to kill you and ones that can be your friends. But it's been theorized that the reason some go feral and some don't is because there's a certain gene that some humans have that doesn't affect the brain and only the physical appearance, desecrating a war memorial. In Fallout New Vegas, there's a memorial of all the soldiers who died at the Battle of Hoover Dam. But if you shoot it or grief it, a man who is near it that is grieving the death of his brother will get angry, and if you continue to do it, he will try to kill you.
What the fuck are you doing? My brother died at the Battle of Hoover Dam. You're desecrating a war memorial.
We've made it to tier 3, and things are gonna start to get crazy. Controversial voice actress. In Fallout New Vegas, while walking through Freeside, you can hear multiple prostitutes hollering at you, but one of them stands out.
Hungry? Thirsty? Horny? The Atomic Wrangler has you covered.
At first, this just sounds like normal stripper talk, until you realize it's a 13-year-old girl who was saying these lines. This sparked a lot of controversy, and Todd Howard is being questioned. Drop the bombs first. There's a theory that implies the people who dropped the bombs first and started the war was not China or the US, but was in fact the Zetans. We know they've been watching human civilization for hundreds of years, and you can even drop a bomb onto the Earth yourself at the end of the Mothership Zeta DLC. Dogme is a synth. Everyone's favorite canine pet could very well be a synth. It's not often we see a living dog out here in the wasteland, especially one who also appears to have damn near superpowers as well as being incredibly trained and obedient. Dogme is also immune to radiation damage and plasma gun damage while not mutating like all the other animals in the wasteland. Could it be possible that the reason Dogme is one of the first characters we meet and why he immediately takes a liking to us is because he's actually a synth sent from the Institute in order to help guide us into meeting our son? Siren Head. There's a Fallout 4 mod that adds Siren Head into the game. This might possibly be the scariest experience you can ever have playing a Fallout game. Hiroshima and Megaton. Everyone knows you can detonate the nuke in Megaton. However, did you know that in the Japanese version of the game, this feature was actually removed, and the reason was, well, obvious reason. Soul Survivor is a synth. In Fallout 4, there's a theory that the player themselves is a synth, and this is due to the fact that you are able to use VATS, which is a key component of synths, even though at this point in the game we don't have a Pip-Boy, and at the start of any other Fallout game you are not able to use VATS. However, we were alive before the Great War. Could it be that we possibly died like all the cryogenic patients, but sometime during these 200 years we were actually replaced with the synth? Burnt alive. In Fallout 3, there's a place by the name of Oasis with a living tree named Harold, but he actually asks you to kill him, and then he tells you to do this by destroying his heart. But there's actually another way we can do this, and that's by burning him alive, which he specifically tells you not to do. He will start screeching painfully until he eventually dies. Mother of Fog. The Mother of Fog is an entity that can be found in Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC, and it is unknown to this day what she exactly is. She can be seen during a Children of Adam's ritual, and we don't know if she's a ghost, spirit, ghoul, soul, or a hallucination. We are now entering Tier 4, and it's starting to get really bad. Baby Mandela Effect. In Fallout 3's The Pit DLC, you are tasked to either kidnap the baby or leave her with her biological parents. However, if you have the cannibal perk, a third option is to just eat her alive. Except, nah, because this isn't actually in the game, and it's a mod named Acquired Immunity that came out over a decade ago. But many players say that they remember eating the baby with no mods, and nonetheless they did it on console. Now, I've actually made a full video going into this Mandela effect, and the number of people who say they've eaten the baby is insane. But as it stands right now, if you try it on PC or console with no mods, you are unable to eat the baby. Puppet Man. Perhaps the most disturbing vault experiment of all time is Vault 77. A poor man is tricked into entering a vault, and once he does, the door behind him closes. He then starts screaming and banging on the door, yelling for help, but to no avail. He stays like this for months and prays that one day he'll be able to be free. That is, until one day, over a year after being trapped in the vault, he discovers a box full of puppets. In order to keep himself entertained, he starts playing with them, reenacting plays, and starts talking to them. He even starts to hear voices talking back to him, but one day he finds a Vault Boy puppet that has seemingly ripped off the head of all the other puppets. We then discover that the vault was open the entire time. He goes out into the wasteland along with his puppet and runs into ghouls, traders, and caravans. But a certain group of raiders becomes suspicious of him, worried that he is crazy and will try to kill them. They tie him up with his puppet. But the puppet then tells the man to kill all the raiders, which he does. He kills every person as well as their family. While the vault nor the man appear in game, certain recordings and jumpsuits can be found indicating this man could still be out there somewhere. Our little secret. In Fallout 3, you can find a city in the middle of nowhere by the name of Andale. Upon arriving, the people there seem to be extremely friendly and kind, even inviting you into their homes for dinner. However, the only person who seems to act different is Old Man Harris, who tells you that the people who live there are not who you think and you need to get out of there and run away as quickly as you can. After going into a family's basement or shed, we see an arrangement of human organs and bodies in which these people cook and eat. The people of Andale are indeed cannibals, and everyone in the capital wasteland knows to avoid them. They lure people in with a friendly demeanor to then kill them and eat them. But that's not all. These people are actually all related. Yes, the families in Andale are incest breeded. They are supposed to marry their cousins in order to keep the population going, and this has been done for generations. The family. The family is a group of people stationed in the metro tunnels in Fallout 3 and have been terrorizing a small community who live on a bridge by the name of Arafu. The people are absolutely terrified of the family and can barely get any sleep. The family is actually a cult who believes that they are a sort of vampire and that they need blood in order to survive. Upon arrival of Arafu and going into the home of one of the residents in the back of the town, we can find two dead bodies, being a male and female, that seem abnormally torn apart and have horrifying scratch and bite marks all over them. We then find out the person who did this was none other than their own child, who decided to go run away and join the family. A truly sad sight. Vault Boy thumbs up. There's a theory that states the reason Vault Boy has his thumb pointed up is not because he's just a happy smiling guy showing some positivity, but rather he is actually measuring the radius of a nuclear bomb. You see, the military used to have a practice in place that stated if citizens or soldiers were ever near a nuclear blast, they could squint one eye and put their thumb up. If the thumb covered the entire blast, then they were far enough to not be affected by the radiation. Mitten Squad. Mitten Squad is one of the best Fallout YouTubers who thrives on doing a variety of challenges while playing games. However, he hasn't uploaded in a year and has been struggling heavily behind the scenes. Mitten Squad has actually had a drinking problem over the last few years, causing him to be diagnosed with pancreatitis as well as being in and out of the ER multiple times. And as it stands right now, he has had to be in medical care constantly and is trying to fight his alcohol addiction. Vault Tech dropped the bombs first. Now, most people know the reason for this wasteland was due to all the atomic bombs dropped during the Great War, which was primarily between the US and China. However, a disturbing observation can be made in one of the first places you visit in Fallout 3, being the city of Megaton. There's an active nuclear bomb in the middle of the town, in which the people who live here worship. Or maybe that's only the weirdos. But you would think that you would see a Chinese or American flag on the bomb. However, what we actually see is a Vault Tech logo. Could it be possible that the Vault Tech are actually the ones who dropped the bombs first? But why would Vault Tech do something like this? Well, it's possible that there were some evil and corrupt higher-ups in the Vault Tech world, and they knew that if they did this, it would lead to a huge financial benefit due to the vaults being populated, but more disturbingly, it was done in order for them to be able to have test subjects and run their sick experiments. Mannequins. Mannequins are always scary no matter where or what they're doing. However, the ones in Fallout 4 are particularly terrifying, often being found in human-like positions as well as having a human-like face and smile that just doesn't look right for some reason. Every time you see them, you can almost swear their eyes are watching you. But the place that can prove this the most is a shipwreck in the Far Harbor DLC, where the player can find a bunch of mannequins still looking out the windows and seemingly talking to each other. However, the creepiest one is a mannequin holding a machete and standing over a dead crew member's body. And when reading a nearby note, it says, "I can't wait to drop these damn mannequins off. The crew is starting to claim that they are hearing weird noises from the cargo. Maybe they are playing a prank on me. Whatever, we're almost there. This is some pretty disturbing scenery and evidence. Perhaps it could be possible these mannequins are hiding something and are more than what you might think. We've made it to tier 5. These are the most disgusting and disturbing things you're gonna hear all day. There are some very messed up things happening here. Fallout: The Frontier. Fallout: The Frontier was a huge expansion mod for Fallout New Vegas that would include a whole new questline, characters, factions, and story. It really garnered a bunch of hype behind it and had the entire Fallout community excited. However, once it released, controversy followed immediately after. One of the developers actually had pedophilic content on one of their personal accounts, and they were forced to remove anything he added to the mod. Fallout: The Frontier also added things like having sex with a Deathclaw, making a mentally ill girl your sex slave, including several lines about feet and having multiple references to a foot fetish some of the developers had, and all this is just scratching the surface of this mod. It's safe to say Fallout: The Frontier was a complete disaster. Number Station. Many players who were there back in the day may remember the story of the number station in Fallout 3. The story goes that at Galaxy News Radio, if you kill the owner and producer, 3Dog, you can actually hear Galaxy News Radio transform into a number station, which are actually a real thing used by governments to broadcast secret messages. But even after killing 3Dog, his voice would still be heard broadcasting numbers. Many players would try decoding these messages and would find that what was being played were dates for people's deaths of the past, but more disturbingly, future events like the coronavirus outbreak were predicted. Could Fallout 3 be a way for the government to communicate to its citizens about future upcoming events? Dunwich Boars. Dunwich Boars is a location in Fallout 4 inhabited by raiders, but after traveling deeper into its cave, you are met with some supernatural sightings. You go into a hallucinatory state and you see the Dunwich people of the past conducting a ritual. You also find them alive in a feral ghoul form, so you are forced to kill them. It's very clear that the people of Dunwich Boars have contacted spirits, and the same can be said for the Dunwich people found in Fallout 3, who say they found ancient relics and used to worship these sentient beings. In return, they would be turned into a feral ghoul. So, it begs the question, if every feral ghoul was due to radiation, or is there something else going on here? Springvale Elementary. Springvale Elementary School has one of the saddest stories in all of Fallout. What is now a home to a group of raiders used to be a home for an elementary school for children. But unfortunately, you're not the one who killed these kids. You can find corpses and skeletons around the school and even inside some cages. What used to be a lot of happy children is now a place where we see the atrocities of what war really does to the world. And what makes this place even more disturbing is the fact that the raiders here actually had a map, and they were trying to dig their way into Vault 101, which was the vault that we grew up in. Fortunately, they were never able to make it, but it's scary to think what would have happened if their plan succeeded. The Ghost People. Ghost People are a type of enemy that can be found in Fallout New Vegas Dead Money DLC. They are extremely horrifying and they just sneak up on you. But in reality, this entire DLC is just really one frightening experience, and it's probably the most disturbing DLC in Fallout history. The Mysterious Stranger. Now, who is the Mysterious Stranger? Well, no one really knows. He just shows up in-game to help you and one-shots your enemies before disappearing right away. But in Fallout New Vegas, we can find a man by the name of the Lonesome Drifter. He tells us that his mom described his father as a mysterious guy he never met. The Lonesome Drifter also plays a guitar, and if you pass a few speech checks, he'll actually give you a gun that plays the exact same riff that plays when the Mysterious Stranger pops up. This is also the exact same weapon model that we see the Mysterious Stranger holding. The only thing it doesn't explain, however, is just how is it possible that the Mysterious Stranger shows up in every game even though they are hundreds of years apart? And how is it possible that he just teleports everywhere shooting people in the head? It's possible that we just might never know who this guy is. The New Plague. We are able to find a multitude of documents and journal entries from the times before the Great War, but perhaps the most interesting one of all goes by the name of the New Plague. In the Point Lookout DLC in Fallout 3, we can find an old military camp, and if we check the terminals, we can find multiple entries talking about this virus. Victims would have a multitude of terrible symptoms, and contracting this virus would often lead to death. In Fallout 1, we can also meet a talking computer who tells us that the company that made the power armor we wear was also trying to cure this mysterious virus. This means that before the Great War, there was a contagious and deadly disease spreading, but just before it could spread all over the country, nuclear bombs were dropped, leading to the new plague being almost completely wiped out. Pink paste. In Fallout 4, we can find Suffolk County Charter School, but when entering, we are attacked by ghouls who look rather pinkish. We then later discover an edible item by the name of pink paste. You see, what the school was doing before the Great War was that they were implementing a new nutrition program, and this pink paste was supposed to feed these children and give them nutrients while also being cheaper than serving regular school food. The school had signed up for a joint experiment with the US government and Vault-Tec that would feed these kids pink paste that was manufactured and made in school. So could it be possible that these pink ghouls are the kids and teachers that once roamed here? Or are they feral ghouls that just happened to move in and their bodies eventually turned pink due to the hundreds of years that they were eating this pink paste? Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was the new and complete Fallout Iceberg. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comment section, and if you would like me to make icebergs for other games, also let me know down below. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. Check out my other channels in the description, and have a great day.